Hey there, my name is Rabbit and I cast Starcraft Broodwar ladder matches. Today's match is between our hero, WhiskeyDingo, and the villain of this match is our Protoss opponent, Protoss Carrier. Alright, so what is this channel all about? I like to cast Broodwar ladder matches between somebody that I know and obviously a random opponent on the ladder. So the person that I know is WhiskeyDingo. He's our hero. He's playing Zerg today, and he has an MMR of about 1420 or so. So he's a D rank player, and he has been matched against a B Rank Protoss. So our friend has got his work cut out for him today, but hopefully he can pull off some sort of miracle, maybe something cheesy, who knows, and win this match. I would be really excited if he can, but we are rooting for our mate WhiskeyDingo. So what is the purpose of this while the game's still quiet? Why do I cast ladder matches? I think the first reason is if you're new to Brood War and you want to get into playing, you've heard about the ladder. You may be playing on the ladder and you're wondering, how hard do these games get at the certain levels? Or what can I expect when I move from F rank to E rank or E rank to D rank or whatever the case might be? And the idea of casting ladder matches is for you to see the kinds of strategies that people employ on the ladder, how hard the ladder is, and what people do to try and win. Anyway, so let's get into today's match. Looks like a fairly standard 11 Forge opening coming in from our Protoss, and on the Zerg side it looks like we have gone into a standard overpool. I'm expecting the second hatchery to drop relatively soon, so relatively standard openings from both of our players. On this side you can see the 2 scouts are out for Protoss. Try and see if they've gone for an early 9 pull. I think once he sees this hatch he may try and go Nexus first as opposed to throwing down the forge, the cannon. Let's see. Where's your probe, buddy? Ah, here we go. A little bit late, but Nexus first as he saw this hatchery drop. Keeping the scouting probe alive is going to be critical so that he can see how many lings our friend WhiskeyDingo brings out. We can see from the production tab that it's only 2 and the rest are drones, but I think he's going to try and circle this probe back to look at those other 2 eggs. He's throwing down a cannon preemptively anyway, and I think our Protoss friend is going to be perfectly safe. This is good probe micro, by the way. Nicely done, getting a view on these drones. Make them work, make them work. No, there we go. Okay, so pretty standard stuff at the moment. This Overlord's moving out here, so I don't think our Zerg friend has scouted Protoss yet. And he's going for a pretty quick third hatch, which is a very macro-centric build, which is nice to see. Protoss, on the other hand, just getting their gateway up, their Nexus. Next part of their build will be to get their gas and their cybernetics core going. There goes the gas. So this looks like, in all likelihood, a pretty standard 2-base Corsair Zealot build, possibly. Might skip Stargate and go for a Zealot rush. We'll have to see how the build order transpires. Usually the Stargate will be up around the 4-minute mark, and then you know exactly what the plan is of the Protoss. I think his scouting probe died, which isn't good because Protoss wants to see if Zerg is going to go into lair tech off of this build, or if they are going to just go straight into Hydralisks. If I were to predict based on the fact that he's not mining gas here, I would think that this is going to be a Hydralisk build, but let's wait and see. Alright, so this is a little, if you're wondering why on earth he's attacking his own gateway, it's because unfortunately you cannot set probes on hold position. This is the best way to make sure that if these lings try and run in here, these probes protect. He's trying to get away with building his cannons as late as possible so that he can fit the other items into his build order. So here's our cyber core. Do we get a Stargate immediately? There it is. Okay, so it's a box standard Corsair opening, and then we'll have to see what the follow-up is from there. You, Mr. Overlord, you're in a lot of trouble, my friend. You better get moving, and you better get moving soon. Alright, so I like that WhiskeyDingo hasn't wasted these lings. There's absolutely no point in running in here and attacking. The Zealots walled this up. Zealots going to wall in here. These probes can now go back to work. So not wasting these is good. It just gives WhiskeyDingo some vision to understand when and if Protoss is possibly going to move out. He's up to 4 hatcheries already, no lair Hydra, so this looks like an aggressive 4, possibly 5 hatch Hydra. I think we can expect a timing attack around about 7 minutes or so. Let's see how his drone count, if he stops droning, and when he starts to just go pure Hydras, then we know that we can expect some pressure. My concern for our Protoss villain, not that I really want to be too concerned about my villain, is he has not scouted the Hydralisk den yet. He sees 2 hatchery, he sees a Hydralisk. I think that's very significant. I think what we may see now as a response is an additional cannon, possibly 2, thrown down by our Protoss friend. Let's see what happens. So he's going to get the extra scouting information now. Here we go, immediately. So the second cannon has come down, and the third. So he has scouted, and I think correctly anticipated the likelihood of some Hydralisk pressure. So that's good scouting, good scout timing, because the earliest this would happen is 6 minutes, and he got that information before then. The Hydralisks are coming down. They don't have speed yet. I think the first upgrade that our friend went with was range, but it doesn't seem to be that speed is on the way at this stage, or did it just finish? I'm not sure. These look pretty okay. Now these are fast. I think the next upgrade is possibly range. I don't think he has attack range yet. I think that's what's coming now. Let's see. Alright, I think our Protoss is safe. 4 cannons is plenty. Yes, you might knock down the gateway. He's not doing +1 with his forge at the stage anyway, which I must be honest is a bit surprising. But you can usually, it's a good idea to try and pick off the forge to stop the +1 upgrade or delay it. But it looks like we're just getting Cannon Man here at the moment. The only other tech and advancements we have at this stage is +1. So our Protoss as a counter is looking to get in as much Corsair harassment pressure as possible, and this is an incredibly early robo. Robo timing usually is at 9 minutes, so I'm wondering if he's going to try and do Reavers to counter the Hydras. I'm honestly not sure. Alright, we got some sleeping drones here. WhiskeyDingo, can we please wake these drones up? These are the laziest drones in the world. Hello, drones. Nope, there's drones on strike. They said, nope, I don't like being a drone. You turn me into buildings, you get attacked by zealots. It's a there we go, they're working. Alright, here comes some more Hydras. And range has started. So I was right, that was a little bit late. We have a supply block as well on our carrier friend, but he's managed to sort this out now. At this stage, I think it would be a mistake for WhiskeyDingo to attack. I think this is a nice contain. Protoss have got virtually no units. What's his army? He's got 2 zealots. Okay, he is going for Reavers, so we've correctly anticipated that that was the reason for the early robo. I think picking this off is fine, but I don't think you should lose any units to cannons. I've missed a whole heap of overlords being killed by these Corsairs. So the trade-off of containing the Zerg at his natural has been the loss of at least 4 overlords. Here's the Reaver out. This pylon should be powering all of this, so it's not really a problem that he loses this or this. If I were WhiskeyDingo, I would be getting a lair as soon as possible so that this can become a lurker contain. Because Reavers, and very soon I think our friend will have Psystorm, although I don't see a Citadel yet. Okay, so he does not have Citadel tech. He's going for a second robo. A third robo. Oh my god, I have never ever seen this in my life. Apologies for sounding so incredibly stupid, but I quite honestly have never seen a Protoss skip Citadel, skip Storm, and decide we're just going with that box standard slow zealot triple robo Reaver build that nobody's ever done, ever, with observatory support in case these do get transformed into lurkers. So what's our Zerg friend doing apart from losing his 12th overlord? He has a lair. He is researching lurker aspect, which I think is a good choice. It's the next logical step to try and convert this into a lurker contain. Considering the tech choice of our Protoss, I don't know how effective that is, because honestly I have never ever watched a match where these unit compositions battle each other. Reavers without any support in early game, it's just not something you see. Maybe in the late game defending a 4th or 5th expansion, for sure. But this I've honestly never seen anything like it. These scarabs are hurting though. If I were WhiskeyDingo, I think the right move is to retreat, because these Reavers are slow, and there are shuttles about now where drops can go into mains, mineral lines, and there's a lot of risks that need to be mitigated. And these Corsairs as well are going to continue to be a nuisance if there's nothing protecting the overlords back home as well. So, what have we got? We've got a group of Hydras here. We've got a pretty naked base here with a couple of Hydras in front of it. This is a creep, potentially, because he wants the opportunity to choose it into a sunken or a spore, depending on what's the need. He's got a fourth naked base over here, but he doesn't need to worry because there aren't a lot of mobile Protoss units around to threaten that. There's his overlords clumped together here with one spore protecting, and his main. So we've got a 4-basing Protoss, sorry, a 4-basing Zerg versus a 3-basing Protoss. He's just thrown up his third base now with his heap of Reavers basically protecting him, and he's extended this cannon line beyond his natural to do that, which I think could be pretty effective. So I think the strategy for our hero WhiskeyDingo should actually just be to expand, because there is very little mobile units that are going to threaten him. There's no heaps of zealots that are going to come out and attack bases. There's no dragoons, there's no storms, there's no Dark Templar. I don't think we even have a citadel yet. So at no point is WhiskeyDingo in any danger of being attacked by anything mobile. This is a very, very defensive posture. So your rule of thumb in Starcraft, if your opponent is playing in a very defensive manner, you can use this to your advantage by taking basically the entire map, getting a ridiculously high drone count, somewhere around 50-60 drones, get all your upgrades, and wait for Protoss to come to you, because in a macro context, Zerg is unstoppable if they are allowed to grow too strong from an economic point of view. So this strategy, very strange, and personally I don't think it's very strong, but then again, this guy is a B rank, so maybe he knows something I don't. So I'd love to see WhiskeyDingo take this base, I'd love to see WhiskeyDingo take this base and take this natural and just really expand and get that drone count up to 50, 60, maybe even 65, and just throw a relentless amount of hive tech against these Reavers. Ultras, cracklings, I think would be the answer. Perhaps even some air units, some Scourge, some Mutalisk harassment against these Reavers would be good. I'm sure, speaking in WhiskeyDingo's defense, he's probably never come across something like this before either, because it is, like I said, relatively unusual. Alright, so let's take a breath. Our Protoss have now taken a 4th base. Now, as a rule of thumb, in a PVZ, Zerg needs to be up at least 1 base, preferably 2. That means our Zerg player should be on 6 bases once this base is established. And at this stage, our Zerg player is on 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're on even base count. And I think this means that our Protoss player is significantly ahead. I would be curious to know though, what is it? Oh my gosh. Disruption web in a PVZ. I honestly, in this game, I have seen a whole series of firsts. This is good. Good lurker positioning. He's going to snipe a few probes. This is a lot of Reavers, man. Damn! Honestly, I've never ever seen anything like it. Is this a fleet beacon? Is this real life? It's not for carriers though. He's just down there to research the disruption web. Okay. That makes some sense. We're building another Stargate though. A 3rd... Okay. Alright guys. Just your typical 3 Stargate, 3 Robo, PVZ. Nothing to worry about here. Nothing to see. Alright, so I think where our Zerg friend is losing this match is on drone count, although it has improved, and on unit choice. So when you play a generic PVZ, Hydras are very viable. Because the tendency for your Protoss opponent is to go for Zealots, Dragoons, and Templars, and that's it. Occasionally you've got Corsairs in the beginning of the game for harassment, but that is normally how this match goes. When you face a scenario where somebody's doing something totally unusual, you need to change your unit composition. So with this very Reaver heavy Corsair style, I think Hive Tech the way to go. I think he's now just popped down his hive, which is great, and getting a whole series of upgraded adrenalings and ultralisks would, I think, probably be the way to break this product opponent. And Aspire, please tell me he's building Aspire. He's got Aspire. And Aspire to get some Scourge out to reduce this Corsair count, because the relentless harassment from a squad of Corsairs this size is really, really hurting our Zerg heroes' ability to progress in this match. Oh no. Oh no. This is zone. Drone funerals galore. Ouch. And I must say, the thing that I think is quite impressive about this is the Corsairs snipe the Overlords, so you don't know what's coming. But again, if our opponent had 40 Lings that he sent there to tidy that up, the Lings, first of all, they'll absorb the shots from the Scarabs. You could have potentially saved some drones, and their attack speed would have potentially taken down those Reavers pretty quickly. So, as I've said, I think the unit composition here needs to change. We're still making Hydralisks. We're upgrading Missile, we're getting Carapace, which is good. Replacing some of those lost drones, getting some Spores because of all the relentless Corsair harassment. Taking another base, which is good. Let's do a base count check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd love to see 6 against 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, we have a carrier. Of course we have carriers. Every unit that is never ever used in this match is going to be used in this match. So it's quite something that I've chosen this particular game as my first ever to cast, because this virtually never happens on the ladder, which proves that you never ever know what's going to happen on the ladder. Oh dear. But this disruption web is actually quite fancy, so it reduces or impedes the ability of the structures and the units to do anything while they're underneath it. These bases are just dead, man. Ouch, 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 ouch. Reavers, man, they punch really, really hard. This is just something else. Corsair Reaver shuttle. Unbelievable. +2, +1 on the plasma shields. We're now going to go into carriers, which has got 1, 2, 3, 4 carriers on the way. Still upgrading air weapons. And these lurkers are good because there's no observer here, so that will fend them off. But unfortunately, Reavers can attack from range, so that will nullify any reinforcements that come here, and I'm pretty sure an observer is on the way. And here come the carriers. Here's one of his obs, he could move it across. Alright, so we're coming down with some Hydralisks. I don't know what he's going to try and achieve. Nothing here, that's nothing here. These bases are just fortresses, man. There is just nothing that WhiskeyDingo can do to break any Protoss base. Okay, so we're sending down a heap of Hydras here. What are upgrades? Upgrades are good. +2, +2. But I don't know, like, what is WhiskeyDingo going to try and achieve here? I mean, this is a fortress. This is a fortress. You got 2 lurkers here, which I suppose is fine. It just blocks any probe transfers. But that's it. I mean, there's no Dark Swarm, so these cannons are going to do good damage, and these Reavers are just going to wreck these Hydras if they get in range, which is now. How about now? Okay. So the Lings just show their value there, because the Reavers wasted Scarabs trying to kill 1 Ling instead of these incoming Hydras. So this is proving out to... Ooh, that was a good Scarab. This is proving to be a very profitable attack. I think he might actually get this base. I think the Corsairs are going to do anything. And now the carriers have shown themselves just to make life even more tasty. But they don't have any interceptors. And Hydras, I think, are pretty good against carriers. So let's see. This could be an interesting little fight. But I think WhiskeyDingo is doing some pretty good damage here. The probe count of Protoss has been absolutely wrecked. This disruption web now. That could actually save this Nexus. That's a pretty good hold. think there's only 2 Hydras left now. Ah, I hear the Zergling. There's a Crackling going crazy here in the corner. Go, go, Crackling! Ah, dang. They got him. Good hold. It's a nice attack. Some reinforcements are coming, and I'm very happy to see this. I think WhiskeyDingo has identified that the right unit composition now is Zerglings. And I think with these carriers around, we've got to see some Scourge or something to reduce this carrier count. He doesn't have, he has a little bit of a bank, but he's not starving for gas. Scourge are relatively gas intensive units, but if he would just throw Scourge relentlessly, I mean 1 or 2 is not going to help because 11 will one-shot Scourge very easily, but a whole heap of Scourge has got to be thrown to reduce this air base of the Protoss. Has he ever changed? We finally see a Citadel. We still don't see a temp, which means his ground units are limited to +1 upgrade. Doesn't really matter because Scarabs are his main sort of attack. Oh, I'm missing a carrier attack here. Okay, so this Spore is not going to do anything against his carriers. I don't know what's he going to do. I mean, he's just going to lose everything he carries. He's got nothing that can counter this. I don't know how many Hydras you would need to try and kill. But we're back here. Yeah, I think this base is a little bit of too difficult to break. I mean, he's reinforced it with cannons. He's got carriers that he can call back to reinforce. He's taken another base. Friend is Whiskey is still on the same number of bases he's been on for quite some time. I think honestly the best chance he would have been to try and take the entire map. Because until such time as the carriers were out, there were no units that were mobile that our Protoss friend had available to him to attack any base. When the carriers came out, yeah, okay, it's a little different because they can get anywhere and attack anything. But before then, they had a good chance. Now, as Zerg, very, very difficult to identify a winning unit composition that can help you. I think Defiler Tech is a good call. I think Plague against these carriers will be very useful. I think Dark Swarm against these Reavers will not be because they do splash damage, so that isn't going to help. This is good though because you're nullifying the impact of the interceptors. So well played here. I quite like this as a defensive move. It means he's just going to have to spend hordes and hordes of cash minerals on interceptors, but he's not going to do any damage with them. A good concentration of spores here, but this damn disruption web. It's such an underestimated value of the Corsair. So normally in PVZ the Corsairs are there in early game to harass and kill overlords. You don't often see Corsairs in the game, especially in this volume. There's probably 11, 12, maybe even 15 of them here. And they are doing disruption webs to spore colonies and to any cluster or group of defensive units to in essence nullify the ability to block against attacks from these carriers. So it's quite something, and I say I also admire the restraint here of our Protoss, not overcommitting, letting his carriers die, just realizing, okay, maybe that's not the right time, let's pull back and regroup. Okay, so here we have our friend, and I think he's just wasting Hydralisks. A count of this, a volume of Hydralisks is just too small here. I think at the end of the day, if he wants to try and pressure our Protoss nemesis, he's going to need a huge mass of Hydras, and 12 at a time, even 15, possibly 20 at a time. It's just not going to be enough. It's going to have to mass up serious volume. So we've taken another base over here, which is good. Got a little central group of Hydras over here just to get some vision. These lurkers have not moved, and we have this base here. So, busy game, a lot on the go. Where do we go from here? I think our Protoss player needs to be more active with these carriers. I think there is certainly opportunity, because it's impossible for Zerg to be everywhere. There's certainly opportunity to pick on a base. This is relatively unprotected. Only a few Hydras here. This is virtually naked. There's a few lurkers here. This is brand new. I think that's probably the way to go. The Defilers are here. They're not at the other bases. WhiskeyDingo is concentrated the bulk of his defense in this part of the map. So I think for Protoss to win this game sooner rather than later, ignore this. This is a fortified position. There's no money here. There's only tech and production. Go find his money. Go find Zerg's money and go kill that. That's how you win the game. So if you're learning Protoss and you want to know what to do, always kill your opponent's newest source of income. If you focus your attacks there, you will, in the long run, certainly get better results. I think why this game is drawing out and why Protoss hasn't closed it out yet is simply because they're continuing to attack into the position that the Zerg is expecting them to attack into, and therefore he's putting his defilers here, he's throwing down his dark swarm here, he's rallying his hydralisks here. He's doing everything because this is where he's expecting the attacks to happen. Alright, what's in our production tab? We're doing upgrades, we're getting plasma shields, we're building more cannons. We're maxed out, so we're not building anything else from our stargates. We've got 3 gateways. We've got we've got our first Templars, that's good. We're still attacking here into our fortified position where our hybrids are. I like this drone count, this is good. And these are fairly sort of neutral engagements here. I don't think anybody's really losing or gaining all that much from them. I think honestly our Protoss friend would be doing much better if he was around here. What have we got down here? More Reavers have just been popped into fortify base and a couple of idle observers that are not being used for anything. Oh, we have some plague! Well, that's good. That will reduce the value on these, or the health on these carriers quite substantially. Not going to do anything to these hydras into the dark swarm. I must say the WhiskeyDingo's done really well just to hold on tight throughout this game. Just like, what is our Protoss's plan? We're maxed out. Okay, we're expanding even more. But, I mean, in terms of his vision, there's observer here, observer here, observer here. I don't know why these observers are not moving around to see what other bases and what sort of mineral counts, like looking at the minerals, seeing, well, where is he about to run out of money? So let's look at that. So this is healthy, this is brand new, this is new, this is old. I think a drone transfer from here and here will probably come from this base when the money goes. This one is not worth retaking. This is pretty healthy. This is, I mean, a drone transfer, there's only a handful of drones there anyway. This is a mistake, unfortunately. WhiskeyDingo with all these overlords here probably impedes his vision. These drones could be put to work elsewhere, currently sitting idle. These carrier Corsair engagements remain fairly unprogressive. Nobody's gaining and nobody's really losing. If anything, Zerg has just been allowed to catch up steadily over the last sort of 5-10 minutes of this game by getting up his drones and getting ready to attack. So he's decided to take this opportunity, and I must say Zerg's scouting is good to know that this base is here, but to break this with hydralisks, with Reavers behind cannons, is just impossible. Absolutely impossible. It is not going to happen. I think a few, like 20, maybe 60 or 70 Zerglings, more likely to do damage. And if you could get a defiler up here to throw some dark swarm down and target down the Reavers, then maybe this can be broken. But unfortunately this was a very futile and inefficient trade from Zerg. Alright, so let's see, we're looking over here. Nope, okay, maybe we learned something from that, although we're sending more Hydras. So we have, in terms of units on the field, +3/+3 Hydras. I presume our Zerglings also... Oh my god, a storm! Your first storm at 29 minutes and 14 seconds in this most unusual of PVZs. Alright, so let's see. Trying to find a Zergling, man. Ah, there's some more wriggly worms. Ah, that's good, chaps. Find some damn Zerglings to see if they also have +3/+3. But I'm just very surprised. There they are. Okay, yeah, what do you got? Okay, so we got +3/+3. I think the way to go in this game is just cracklings. Cracklings, Scourge, Hydras. Let's go. But cracklings being the main unit. that I think is the best opportunity Zerg has to break this particular unit composition of Protoss, because they've used storms, but I mean very, very scarcely, and he's just expanding even more. This base is the only untaken base on the whole map, and this one here, which is now in the process of being taken. Sorry, I missed a fight. Caster, learning, catching my learning as I'm going here, so that's fine. These damn Dark Swarms have been really well done and used in a defensive way, which is not something you see that often. You tend to see Dark Swarm as an offensive weapon. Maybe in Terran versus Zerg it's used defensively, particularly to protect lurkers and stuff on high ground. But this has just been a masterclass from WhiskeyDingo on how to use Dark Swarm defensively against a very, very unusual carrier play from Protoss. So really admire that. The only thing I wish that WhiskeyDingo had done differently this match is respond to Reavers with a different unit composition. Breaking this now, it's going to take a lot of Zerglings. If the Dark Swarm goes on the cannons, it makes them useless, which means the Zerglings can potentially get onto these Reavers. That's what I'm hoping he tries to do when he tries to break a base. Unfortunately, what's happening is the attacks are quite scattered, so 12 Hydras come in, they die, then 12 Zerglings come in, they die, and then the Defiler is not throwing the Dark Swarm here. Okay, this is good. Now we Plagued, which is another very good option, because this weakens all of these. But I still think with these damn Scarabs, you're going to have a tough time. If you can throw the Dark Swarm, even if you throw a Dark Swarm to get the Defiler protected, and then he swarms again, that gives you an opportunity to take down the space. So let's see how this goes. Alright, so that cannon, focus down the cannon. Focus down the cannons. These cannons are all very weak. Please focus fire. Focus fire. Okay, so these Hydras coming in scattered. Not ideal. Good storm though. Credit there. Oh man, these Reavers are too damn strong. And there's just not enough. We've got 145 supply, but where is it? Yeah, staggered, doing nothing in particular. Yeah, staggered. Yeah, staggered. Yeah, staggered. If you're going to try and break a base, get your forces together all in one go and do it, because this, bit by bit, is playing right into Protoss's hands. But what has surprised me in this game is, apart from a little bit of carriers up and down, up and down, up and down here, this Protoss has been so defensive, just banking on Zerg, throwing unit after unit after unit into their fortified positions while they run out of energy and gas, which is honestly how I'm thinking this game's going to end. Eventually WhiskeyDingo is just going to run out of units that he can throw at these bases. I mean, he has literally got 6 carriers, 11 Corsairs throwing down Disruption Web, Templar, who I think is among here. Oh no, he was here. Now he's 2 Templars. He's turned into an Archon. He's got 5 Reavers and an Archon. I don't know, just for luck, because they're pretty good against Zerglings in particular. I mean, this is Fort Knox, man. This base can not do anything. These bases. This is walled in. I mean, Protoss not even interested in being able to get a Zerg ground unit out of this base. This is just turtling on another level. Look at this. Look how much money this Protoss has. He can just build cannons for fun. Unbelievable. Alright, and now our friend WhiskeyDingo's attempts to be expanding over here have just been thwarted by a measly 2-3 Reaver drops. I don't know if these shuttles have speed. Doesn't look like it. This Reaver's just been left to die. Sorry, buddy. You had a good run. Cheers, cheers, cheers. And now he can go back to Fort Knox over here. Okay, so WhiskeyDingo looks like he's thought better of trying to knock this base out. And he's got some units here. Again, I think expecting the carrier pressure, because you've got this like water area here and this high ground area. So keeping this fortified. I mean, you've got your hive and your tech here, so I guess it's important to protect it. So that's fine. We've got some sort of random units over here, over here. So we're a little bit spread all over the show. I think though, at the end of the day, this has been pretty tough game for Zerg because of the unusual build that the Protoss has taken. Where do you go from here? I think Protoss is just going to continue to play the waiting game. Oop, I hear some fights. Ah, here we go. So we throw down our Darkstorm again. Not at the cannons, but in front. Helpful to some extent, but the Reavers are just... The sight range of the Reavers, they can see anything over here. And so the Scarabs just wreck. And now these Hydralisks rip. Scarab, 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 dead. Scarab, 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 dead. Scarab, Scarab. I think WhiskeyDingo is actually going to have nightmares about Scarabs tonight. So when he goes to bed, he's going to hear Scarabs in his head and not going to be able to sleep. Unbelievable the amount of Scarabs that have hit him in this game. I think more in this game than probably his entire Starcraft career. Alright, so we got something happening with some shuttles. What are we going to do? Pick up some more Reavers? Well, the cannons have been broken. I think those were Zerglings that did some good work there. So we could be making some progress. Oh, what's happening over here? Alright, so we've got a handful of carriers. And Hydralisks are not targeting down the carriers because they're out of range. But they are just picking up a lot of interceptors. Did he break this? Oh, it's going to be close. He's got these cannons at the back. Oh, I think he might. But what's the benefit? You broke a base with no money. It's unfortunately too late. He's mined this out. Alright, back to this one. Okay, so our Corsairs are going to do some disruption webs. Damn, these disruption webs are annoyingly good. Honestly, I had no idea. So our carriers are now doing much better. Although, I think the disruption webs disrupt their interceptors too? That's unusual. Okay, well, and they don't last that long either. It's not like stasis or any of those sort of spells. It seems to last for maybe 10 seconds and then gone. Alright, so we managed to kill a Nexus. I don't think our Protoss player is going to give a crap. I don't think our Protoss player is going to give much of a crap about this. You care about his main because there's some production there, but the entire left side of the map, Protoss doesn't care about. He cares about the bottom right because that's where his money is. For Zerg, it's pretty much the same. Zerg's going to care about this base. This base is nearly dead. This base is nearly dead. This base is dead. This base is constantly under threat from our Protoss friend and his new fortress. So the natural yes, it's valuable because you've got 110 robos and 25 stargates and basically all his production chilling here. So it is important, and I think if WhiskeyDingo can get some defilers here, he will break this pretty easily. The challenge for him though is where does he prioritize his attention? Is it to protect his current sources of income from the constant threat of these Corsairs and these carriers? Or is it to try and break this base to reduce the production capacity of Protoss? Does Protoss have production elsewhere? Yes. They've replicated this. They've got 3 robos down here. They're building Dark Archons. What the hell? Does he want to do a Maelstrom on these high? I don't even know what he wants to do. But of course, something else you don't see every day added to this game because it has literally had it all. Alright, so he's going to break this. And unfortunately for my friend WhiskeyDingo, he doesn't probably know this, but it is absolutely pointless. All it is going to do is he's going to lose the units that it takes to break this base, and every single piece of technology virtually that he's going to destroy is already on this side. And I think potentially he is going to use Maelstrom with these Dark Archons. We'll have to wait and see. I want to keep an eye on those. So he's going to break this. And I don't think our Protoss player is going to be too phased by it. He's got his carriers, he's got his Corsairs, he's got his Dark Archons, he's got his Reavers. I think if you're playing a game and something happens and it seems to be easy, there's usually a reason for that. And I think this is a very, very good example. He broke this, or got this entire base, with absolutely no resistance. And there's a good reason for that. Because our Protoss player realizes that with the style of play, where he needs to have Reavers stationed to protect him from Zerg attacks, it was pointless spending 8, 9, 10 Reavers and whatever else, or having his carriers and everything over there to defend his main, when he could rather use those units to come and destroy one of Zerg's last 2 main income sources. In fact, this is the most critical base in this entire match. Credit to Protoss player for identifying that defending his first original main base was not worth the resources and the units, and that this was a far better option in terms of the strategy to close out this match. So he's got all these units here that could be in the fight, and they're busy destroying buildings that have already been replaced. I don't think he's going to replace anything with more Corsairs. He's just going to build Dark Archons, Reavers, and I think this is going to be it, guys. There's just not enough, and when he spent the last of his money, look, he's got a bank, but he's got idle drones, and this hatch is gone. So they've come across. Please send them across. Please send them to help. The pylons are annoying. Got to replace those if you want to keep adding to your army. But I think this is going to be our Zerg friend's last stand. Let's see. Okay, so we've got some Hydras and a Defiler over here. Another Hydra over here. All our units that have wrecked that base are going to come around. Is he going to rally them all together and then attack? Or is he going to go bits and pieces? It looks like he's going in. Oh! Dark Swarm and Storm as a retaliation. Disruption Web as a retaliation. Decent carrier micro through the whole game, I must say. I think that's been pretty good. These Corsairs are going to wreck a few Overlords for fun. These Hydras are just like, nah, I don't know if we want to attack, man. We're going to wait for some reinforcements first. Idle units. I think he's pulling everything. So this is it. This is the final stand. These drones have just been chilling here literally the entire game. Alright, this is it. This is our Zerg player's last stand. Storm there, very nicely done. I think he got that High Templar. Don't know what's in these shuttles. Some Reavers here as well. He knows how critical this is to Zerg. And that's, I think, going to be it. A valiant effort from our friend. Considering WhiskeyDingo is a D rank Zerg player, he played against a very strange build from a B Rank Protoss, and he played one hell of a game. And I think he had done a unit composition switch midway through at around about the 12 to 15 minute mark, when he could see what our Protoss player was doing with his Reaver turtle style. I think he would have had a very good chance to win this match. But he showed a wonderful account of himself, and this is a very, very good and very, very interesting illustration of the fact that you never know what you expect when you're playing on the ladder. You've got to be ready for everything. You've got to be able to adapt, build, change your unit compositions, and adapt your strategy in-game. And it's so difficult to do it, and you find yourself super frustrated because you've watched the match afterwards and gone, ah man, if I'd just done this, or if I just changed that, I would have smashed it. And I'm sure my friend WhiskeyDingo feels like that in this game. But regardless of that, he played fantastically well, and I think he can be very proud of his effort. Alright, here come the last of the Hydras. I think I admire the fact that he didn't just leave. Kept going. Make the Protoss player earn it. Maelstrom, good spell, basically paralyzes his units, and then you can just pick them off when they're not even working. Unbelievable the variety of tactics employed by this Protoss in this game. Never ever seen anything like it. Really, really, really happy that I got to cast the game this interesting. And that is exactly what this channel is all about. Showing what you can expect to see on ladder, showing very cool and interesting games for people that are enjoying Brood War content, and exposing the very talented players that we have that play Starcraft Brood War all around the world. I think this game is about to complete itself. Let's see how much longer he goes on for. The last of the Hydras. These carriers have been kept throughout the entire game, which I also think is very good. I think the thing I'll say about this Protoss player, yes, he used an unusual build, but he was very efficient. Didn't waste units. He pulled back when it wasn't on. Was very patient, very methodical, and I think that's probably why he was able to pull this game out of the bag. Literally fighting to the last Hydra. Has had his chance to kill these dang carriers, which them and these Corsairs have lasted the whole game. They've been our friend's nemesis for the entire match. But this was great, guys. This is what the Rabbit Root channel is all about. Showing ladder games and enjoying really, really interesting and exciting Brood War content. So if you like this kind of thing and if you've made it with me this far, tune in. There'll be many more exciting and enjoyable games to come. I think it would be probably appropriate. The last shot that goes off here is a scarab. And there it is. Is there another scarab in there? Scarabs, interceptors, cannons. GG. Well played, Mr. WhiskeyDingo. Well played, Mr. Protoss Carrier. Very enjoyable game. Check the scores out. Wow. 1,000 units produced. 898 units killed by our Protoss friend. I think where this game is won and lost though, like most Starcraft matches, is on resources. Our Protoss player, he mined less minerals, but he mined more gas. At the end of the day, we must always remember that Zerg is a less efficient race. In other words, it requires more units to kill Protoss. And I think our friend WhiskeyDingo found that he was unable to trade his units efficiently into the many fortified positions that our Protoss friend used. Anyway, it's been a cast from Rabbit Root. I hope you've enjoyed it. Tune in next time for more exciting Brood War action.